You say you hate yourself, but if someone asked you why, you wouldn't have a clear answer. It's not one mistake, it's not one flaw, it's something deeper, harder to explain. It's this quiet feeling that something about you is off, like you're not fully real, like you're playing a role you didn't choose, and no matter what you fix, the feeling doesn't go away. So the question is, do you actually hate yourself, or do you just not know who you are yet? Visual: person standing in front of a mirror, reflections slightly blurred. 2. Problem: deep dive. You wake up and there's no clear sense of direction. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't care, but because nothing feels fully yours. You try things, new habits, new goals, new identities. For a few days, it feels right. Then slowly, it fades, and you're back to the same question. Why can't I just be consistent? Visual: notebook pages being written and then abandoned. You look at other people, they seem solid, like they know what they want, like they trust themselves, and you don't. So your brain fills in the gap. It says, you're weak, you're fake, you're the problem. But that's not what's actually happening. What's happening is, you're trying to build a life on top of an unclear identity, and the brain doesn't like that, because your brain is wired for consistency. In psychology, this is called self-concept clarity. It means how clearly and confidently you define who you are. When self-concept clarity is low, you don't feel stable. Your preferences change. Your decisions feel uncertain. Your personality feels flexible in a bad way. Like you become a different version of yourself depending on who you're with. Visual: same person in different social settings. Slightly different posture each time. So when you say, I hate myself, what you're really feeling is, I don't recognize myself. And that's a very different problem, because hate is stable. Confusion isn't. 3. Reframe: you're not broken. You adapted. At some point in your life, being your real self didn't feel safe. Maybe you were judged, ignored, compared, or misunderstood. So your brain did something intelligent. It said, let's adjust. Let's become who people accept. Let's avoid what causes rejection. Let's stay flexible. This is called self-monitoring. High self-monitoring means you constantly adjust your behavior to fit your environment. It helps you survive socially, but over time, it disconnects you from your core identity. Because instead of asking, what do I want? You start asking, what will be accepted? Visual: person changing masks in front of different groups. So you didn't lose yourself by accident. You slowly replaced yourself. And the brain doesn't label that as adaptation. It labels it as something is wrong. So it creates a shortcut. I must hate myself. But that's not hate. That's disconnection. 4. Psychological mechanism. Let's break this down. Your brain builds identity through repetition, not thoughts, not intentions, experiences. Every time you act in a certain way, your brain updates a model. This is who I am. This happens in neural networks related to the default mode network, the system responsible for self-referential thinking. Visual: abstract brain animation with glowing pathways. Now, imagine this. You act confident with one group, quiet with another, funny in one situation, serious in another. There's no consistent pattern, so your brain struggles to build a stable identity. It's like trying to draw a face, but the features keep changing every time. The result? A blurry image. That blurry image is what you experience as, I don't know who I am. Here's a simple mental model. Your identity is like a map. Every action is a coordinate. If your actions are consistent, the map becomes clear. If your actions constantly shift, the map becomes noise. And when the map is unclear, your brain can't predict your own behavior. And prediction is everything to the brain, because prediction equals control. When the brain can't predict, it feels unsafe. So it generates anxiety, doubt, and self-criticism. Visual: map slowly distorting into static noise. So again, you don't hate yourself. Your brain just doesn't have a clear map of you. 5. Practical framework. We're not going to fix you. We're going to rebuild clarity. Slow, precise. Step 1. Stop asking, who am I? Start tracking. What do I repeat? What to do for the next 7 days? Don't try to define yourself. Just observe pattern. What do you naturally return to? What do you do without forcing it? Write it down. Visual: notebook with repeated words appearing over time. Why it works. Identity isn't built from abstract thinking. It's built from behavioral consistency. The brain trusts patterns more than intention. By tracking repetition, you give your brain real data, Example, you say you're undisciplined, but you notice you consistently watch deep content. You think a lot. You reflect. That's not undisciplined. That's introspective. Your identity starts to shift. Step 2. Reduce self-monitoring in low-risk environments. What to do? Pick one environment where stakes are low. Maybe texting a friend. Maybe being alone. Maybe a small interaction. In that space, stop adjusting. Respond naturally, even if it feels awkward. Why? It works. High self-monitoring overrides your authentic responses. By lowering it, you allow your brain to access default behavioral patterns. This reconnects you to your baseline self. Example, instead of crafting the perfect reply, you send what you actually think. It feels uncomfortable at first, but slowly, you start recognizing your own voice. Step 3. Make micro decisions without overthinking. What to do? Start making small decisions quickly. What to eat, what to watch, what to wear. Decide within 5 to 10 seconds. Why it works? Indecision weakens identity signals. Quick decisions strengthen them because the brain starts associating you with clear preferences. Example, instead of scrolling for 20 minutes, you pick something instantly. Over time, your brain learns. This is the kind of person I am. Step 4. Create one stable trait and protect it. What to do? Choose one trait you want to stabilize, not 10, just one. Example, honesty, curiosity, consistency. Then act on it daily. Why it works? Identity becomes stable when at least one trait is predictable. This creates a reference point in the brain. From there, other traits can form. Example, if you choose honesty, you stop pretending in small situations, even simple ones, and your brain starts mapping. I am someone who tells the truth. Step 5. Accept temporary identity, discomfort. What to do? Expect confusion. Expect inconsistency. Don't label it as failure. Why it works? When identity shifts, the brain enters a phase called cognitive dissonance. Old patterns conflict with new ones. This feels uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Example, you act differently than before. It feels fake, but it's not fake. It's unfamiliar. And unfamiliarity is how identity expands. 6. Integration. So here's the simple model. You are not a fixed identity. You are a pattern of repeated behaviors. If the pattern is unclear, you feel lost. If the pattern is consistent, you feel like yourself. Visual. Scattered dots slowly forming a clear shape. Right now, your dots are scattered. That's why nothing feels solid. But you don't need to find yourself. You need to observe and repeat yourself. That's how the brain builds identity. Not through thinking, through evidence. 7. Quiet, empowering close. There's a quiet shift that happens when you stop saying, I hate myself, and start saying, I don't know myself yet. One is an ending. The other is a beginning. Visual, empty room with soft sunlight entering. Because hate closes doors, but curiosity opens them. And right now, you don't need more pressure. You don't need more labels. You just need to notice, to observe, to repeat. Visual, person walking slowly at night. Calm atmosphere. And slowly, without forcing it, without pretending, without trying to become someone else, you'll start to feel something unfamiliar. Clarity. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet certainty that this is you. Final thought. You were never someone to hate. You were just someone you hadn't fully met yet. If you feel like this video was about you, then subscribe, because this is just the beginning.